Hey everybody, it's Friday. Well, actually, right now it's Thursday night, but it's about to be Friday, and a new podcast episode is about to drop. I'm actually giving my dog his dinner because we just got back from this week's interview at Tavolo with the Ashmont Adams Neighborhood Association folks, some of my favorite people in my favorite neighborhood in Dorchester. So make sure you give that a watch. What else this week? We also had Seth Daniel from the Dorchester Reporter who joined me remotely this week. If you have seen any of the interviews that I've done with Seth, they're always a little bit different because there's always a relic involved, and this week did not disappoint. And then our Tiny Dot concert this week is with Monument Hill, which is a local Boston band that is a metal band. I know that sounds like you might not like it, but I'm not a big metal fan and I really like Monument Hill. So I think you should give them a listen. They're really good and they're great guys, and you should at least listen to their interview because they have a cool story. So thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your weekend. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dot Life. We're joined today by Dorchester Reporter folks, but this time it's Seth Daniel. Hey Seth.
Ah, hey Erin, how are you?
It's great to see you. It's been a minute.
It's been a millennium.
You look a little sun-kissed for a guy from Boston this time of year.
Yeah, it was not the effects of the snow. It was actually a different climate last week that put me in this situation.
You're not getting the sun reflecting off the snowbank like everybody else.
Yeah, like one of those silver blankets that people use.
I hope you had a nice trip.
We did. Big family vacation. Don't do that often, but
Nice.
it was memorable.
And you came back to Epic Blizzard, so that's great.
Yeah, we got back on Friday and had a couple of days to, come to grips with reality of where we live and wondering why we do.
Yep, every year.
Then May comes and you're like, yeah, well, this isn't so bad.
Speaking of the stories we're going to talk about, we will talk a little more about the snow. I know everybody's sick of hearing about it, but it is the news right now. A new bill in the Dorchester court system to rename a local courthouse, and then the shutting down of another popular libation spot in Dorchester, and then we'll close with the relic story. So
Okay, sounds good.
you want to start with the snow? Let's get the snow over with.
Yeah, it's not over. It was coming down this morning pretty furiously, but it didn't seem to do much.
I did not shovel this morning, I have to admit.
You don't need to. You
No.
don't need to. This is one of those that looks pretty. There's no pain.
But this was I moved here in October of 2014. So I was right before that big 2015 drop in January. That's when I was like, why did I leave Buffalo for this? This is worse.
Yeah, Buffalo's pretty bad in its own right. I mean, you didn't. It's not
So
like you
tell
came
me,
from Florida.
from your perspective as you've been here a lot longer than I have, not a lifer, but a long time. Like, where did this rank on snowfall scales for you?
We were going over this. I think that there were some years like between 2010 and the 2015. It was really like there was just so many brutal storms, but nobody talked about it so much. I mean, the TV news, they got into it like they usually do, going out and doing silly things live on scene where there's a blizzard.
They're being whipped around. Why don't you do that kind of correspondence, Seth?
I do. I just don't do it on camera. I don't record it.
Well, this one it was an emergency, a snow emergency from the mayor. Probably everyone got the 17 alerts that you get leading into that. So what does that entail? It's like transit shutdown, what parking bans, what else is involved in that?
Oh, there's a lot of tips what to do if you run out of heat. It basically says, there's not much we can do. I know that. I thought there was going to be a golden thing there. I have a neighbor who ran out of heat on our first storm.
Oh boy.
In one of her units, and it was sort of like Sorry.
Yikes, that
It's
stinks.
tough.
Yeah.
It does, and it just, I think, even just like the wind that we had this time,
Yeah.
this recent storm, and you realize it is life threatening. It can,
Yeah.
we joke about these things, but I mean, people get out and there are people who have underestimated it and paid the price. I
Yeah.
remember reading many articles in the past. Boy, the sun's really on me.
Yeah, you're getting a little, there you go.
I haven't read a lot here in Boston, but I know in New York there were multiple casualties due to the cold, mostly, the unhoused population, but it's certainly a problem.
Sometimes elderly too. They
Yeah.
underestimate how far they're going, or how cold it is.
Well, one of the things I've always struggled with snow in Boston is that compared to Buffalo, we don't really have a great way of dealing with it. So
Yeah, boy, wish it away. That's what it is. We don't have snow here.
I think this time was better than January's, right? They were a little more prepared, which was good. But
They're still paying the price though of, they left a lot of the curbs intact. You had like those
Yeah.
3 foot piles that just, even like Dorchester Ave went all the way down and
Yeah.
in the neighborhoods. And, I think in the coming days, that's going to be, they're going to regret that. I don't know if you can get every little square inch, but, when you get 2 big storms like this, it begins to be dangerous because this is one of the, do you have standoffs? You want to talk about the Dorchester standoff?
what's a stand? No, I don't know what that is. What's a standoff?
Winter standoff. Okay, so a lot of the streets, as you know, are two-way, but really only fit one car, even
Oh,
in
yeah.
even in good weather.
Yeah.
And you got to drive, with some, with your antennas up. You got to duck in, come out. But
Yeah.
when there's snow, there's nowhere to duck, right?
Oh, so you just play chicken and
There are cars. They get mid-block, and they're face to face, and nobody's going to give in. And it's what everyone calls a standoff. And we had one on our street in the previous storm for 1 hour.
a lot of horns.
Not from the people who were trapped or who were involved in the standoff, but the people who came up behind them. Many of them tried to mitigate the situation to no avail. These people were dug in, and after 45 minutes, with one of them turned the car off. It was snowing pretty hard at the
What?
time. Yeah, and it was like, if you've been there 45 minutes, you're in it to win it. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
gonna. If I were in their shoes, I wouldn't give up either. I mean, I don't do this, but a lot of people do. And what ended up happening? The police came because a lot of people on the street where we were needed to go somewhere.
Right.
And you can't go anywhere when somebody's in a standoff on your street.
Man, I can't imagine the stubbornness required to do that for an hour.
Well, it's Boston. It's very easy to find someone who will do that. Too, in fact. And so the police had to come, and when the police came, everybody got out and acted like, yeah, didn't do anything. It was them. And it's like, she wouldn't move. Well, he wouldn't move. And it's like, just go.
Oh.
Well, one way that they're hoping to deal with this is these snow farms. Did they not have them running in January? Because I don't remember reading about snow farms back then, but they have them now.
Yeah, they have several. I know that they used them. I don't know really what happened in January.
Yeah.
The removal, it just didn't seem to happen.
No.
I'm seeing it happen now. When the story we're talking about, there's a pretty massive one that just snow farm that just popped up in here in Columbia Point by the reporter's office yesterday, and they were having it must have been like 10 trucks every 5 minutes. These are semi trucks
Yeah.
full of snow, and they were just coming in from, they said South Boston and probably parts of Dorchester too, and they were just dumping it there. But there are others as well, and they have snow melters that they've rented.
Okay.
And the people come in, fire up the snow melter, melt it, and it goes into the stormwater drain, and it's treated.
Isn't it? It's all salty, right? It's all briny because
Yeah.
It is. Oh yeah, and there's a lot of nasty stuff in snow. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
once you get to that point, it's beautiful at first, but when you get to the point of trucking it in and dumping it, those piles are that's
Filthy.
gross.
Yeah.
Even the ones on the corner are like, gosh, ugh, this is a health hazard.
my dog is contributing to that nasty snow.
Yeah, one of my youngest teenager said, "What's all that yellow stuff at the bottom of the piles?" I said, "Don't touch it."
So,
I remember when I lived in Charlestown that first year when I moved here, all night long hearing the semis backing up and moving the snow. It was, I mean, every single night it was actually quite disruptive. So is that kind of the din over at the?
We were hearing it all day. The where they shift down the da 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 da. That
yeah,
thing. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It's really conducive to writing, right?
Yeah, eventually it just blends in with all the other noise. Sirens and students and people
Bill.
yelling. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. People winning the lottery. We have the lottery downstairs
Yeah,
from us.
right.
Is there? I don't think there's any more in the forecast this week, so maybe we'll get through the week without another dump.
Somebody that I was listening to about an hour ago who tends to be like fatalistic said, big stuff coming in Friday. And I'm like, no, but we'll see. We'll see.
I gotta ask you, what do you think of these volunteer snow brigade ideas?
Well, there seems to be two camps on this. And I'm probably of the camp where I'm like, I have enough of my own to do.
Yeah,
And my back hurts. And
yeah,
I know the neighbors of mine who are older or who need the help. And we all just do that and go inside. And if,
yeah.
hey, to each their own. If they want to join a brigade and go around shoveling, that's their option. But I think it's a little silly. I don't know.
I find it a little tone deaf, like raising
Yeah.
taxes twice in the last 6 months.
Oh, okay, go there. Yeah, let's go there.
The Buffalo Bills stadium obviously it's open. It's not domed.
Yeah,
And
I've seen this. Yes.
yeah, they pile, we'll get 6 feet of snow and they ask people, will you come shovel? We'll feed you and we'll give you,
Hmm.
I think, drinks and we'll pay you $20 an hour. And they get hordes of people.
I've
So
seen that. I
yeah,
admire it. I don't think it would ever work here.
yeah. Everybody would be in a standoff on the way to Gillette.
They'd never get out of Dorchester at all. That's we actually called that's an Olympic sport. We call it snow squabbling.
The standoff.
Yes, snow squabbling.
There is a courthouse. Oh, I'm sorry, not in Roxbury. It's in Codman. So it's
Yes, Codman Square, the
yeah,
Dorchester courthouse. Yeah, the judge was
it's right
Leslie
by you,
Harris.
isn't it, Seth? Not too
It
far.
is right by me. It's
Yeah,
just up the street. I've done jury duty there more than a few times,
same.
and I'm able to walk to jury duty, which is
Nice.
not the only place I can walk to, which says something maybe. I don't know.
So tell me about Judge Leslie Harris that they're thinking about. There's a proposal to actually
Yeah, they have a bill. There's a bill filed in the Senate and one in the House. It's a no-brainer. He's well thought of. He spent, I believe he's from Chicago originally, came here to BC for law school, and spent time before he was a judge, like in the probation department, and was really active with youth. Now, the important thing I like about this story, interviewing Chris Worrell and some of the others, Chris Worrell, the state rep, who was one of those who filed the bill, was that he was a judge you could see in the community, in the supermarket. I knew him from, well, I didn't know him, but what I knew of him actually was not behind on the bench, but rather he organized a lot of jazz concerts. He was really into jazz in his retirement. In fact, he just had one last year. I wasn't able to make it there, but
where
it was
were
quite
those?
usually in Roxbury,
Okay.
which is why I don't get out of the neighborhood very often, and when I
You
go
couldn't
into
walk to
Roxbury,
jazz.
I get all nervous. It's just like not really fun. But yeah, he was a lot of the judges, they come from somewhere else. Maybe they have different values. They don't have enough leniency for who they should and have too much for people they shouldn't. Kind of that's what you kind of see it that way. But I think when you are aware of the person and especially young people,
Hmm.
juvenile justice was a big thing for him, and even uh, they have a sort of, I want to say, like a training program, particularly for young men of color who might be interested in the legal profession. And that was a big thing. It was something he contributed to, and they've had a few classes graduate. I think they're going to name that after him as well. Maybe they
Okay.
already did.
Okay.
So that was really important. And why is it important? Well, statistically, most of the people in the juvenile system are young men of color.
Hmm.
And if you're getting up there and you're making some life decisions, I mean, maybe they're only 12, but if they've done something, that, I mean, there's a lot of things that, particularly in Roxbury and Dorchester courts, where, in the suburbs, perhaps they'd get a call home, it would never make it to the court.
Hmm.
Come get your kid, he just did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Here, it's an arrest, it's an arraignment, and if you get in front of a judge who's like, I've had a bad day, and and maybe just sees the wrong things, could really stick it to a kid who just did a youthful offense, and in other places would probably not even warrant a trip to the courthouse. So
It starts them down a path where they're already
yeah,
behind. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And a little bit of hopelessness.
Yeah.
So I think he was really keen on making sure that you could steer kids away from that path you just talked about. And it's important that a judge is in the. I feel right. It's important that a judge is in the community, and there's some accountability. There's a lot of judges who have no accountability, and may not even follow what happens after the decisions they make.
Because they're not part of this area.
Right.
They just go home.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that doesn't mean they're bad judges, but there's something to be said for being a known quantity, and running into people, even formerly incarcerated people who he had been involved with, came to his wake.
I found that surprising. Like that's a
Yeah.
remarkable,
I'd
remarkable.
like to know more about that, but I don't know all the details, but it says something. I mean, that
Yeah.
means something to me.
Is your prediction that this bill will pass and that it
Yeah.
won't be named for him?
Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer. It's in, they're ironing out differences in language right now, between the House and Senate. They'll put it all together into one. I'm sure it'll pass, and the governor will sign it. I'm sure it would mark the third courthouse named after an African American judge.
In the
Or
state,
yeah,
right?
yes, in Massachusetts. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Edward Brooke is one of the others, and Roderick Ireland.
Talk about Dot Tavern.
Yeah, Dot Tavern. It's I have honestly don't believe I ever was in there.
I went
So
once.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it was interesting because everything I've heard about it since is that it's very much like a 20-something place, which I am not.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
But it was pretty. Yeah, I think I went in an afternoon once and it was pretty empty. So, but it was good.
Mm,
It's fine. Nice and
yeah,
divey
I knew
vibe.
it. I knew it as one of those places. Previously, I saw that it had changed and it was attracting a unique crowd. I think they benefited from UMass Boston.
Totally.
Students here from Harbor Point. It was a good landing place, and even just a lot of young professionals who live in that Polish Triangle and in
Yeah.
other environs nearby, Savin Hill. Looked like a really good spot to gather, and the people had a good time there. I, knew it from the previous ownership where it was. I felt, that's a place if I walk in, I will at least get punched, perhaps stabbed.
Really?
It's one of I mean, Dorchester Ave bars I mean, you should actually have Bill talk about that one
Okay.
time he's on here, because he is the probably the expert on
He,
that. But
he has mentioned that in his youth he spent some time in Dot Ave.
well, they were just all up and down, and they were places. It's like I don't know if they exist so much anymore, but the bars in Boston, they had no windows except for like these little like windows that were like 1 foot by like 3 feet.
Like basement windows type thing.
Yeah, like basement windows with bars all over them, like screens and metal screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not even sure why there was probably some regulation you have to have a window, and that's what they came up with.
Yeah, probably.
Because you never want to see inside of a bar in those days. So
Yeah.
and the bar didn't want you to see, but
I'm a big fan of a dive bar. I think a good dive bar is nice, and I think Boston is perilously lacking in dive bars generally.
yeah,
So
well, this is another one that bites the dust.
yeah,
This was a dive bar.
yeah,
This was there's quite a few interesting comments on our Facebook page about this story.
okay.
Some of them critical, but some of them remembering old days. One of the ones that I found interesting was, I guess it was some time ago, a large hangout for the Polish community,
Mm,
and this guy says if you heard one of them yell at the other that they were a Russian, you got to get out of there because there's going to be a fight. I don't know what that means.
There's
even.
no greater
But I
insult than calling
maybe I was offensive just now. I don't even know, but I thought that was funny, and it was probably true.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a
So,
lot of things like that.
have you guys heard anything on the plan for that building? They're selling the whole building.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be developed somehow. I mean,
Yeah.
it's already got residences upstairs. I mean, it's a
Okay.
remember right, it's a mixed use building already.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I
I'm
think
trying
so.
to remember.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. That whole area has kind of been modernized a lot from what it once was. A lot of the three deckers that are there are still three deckers, but they've been modernized and new. The decks are clean and got lights and new paint jobs and such.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an ideal place to live, to get anywhere. I mean, I remember once going there, and I can't remember, like in that area, we might have had a slice of pizza, and we were headed to the Bruins game.
Okay.
And so we had a slice of pizza, got in the car, and we were to the garden in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, holy cow, that was a car. That wasn't the T. But even by the T, you're
Yeah.
very close. So it's
Yeah.
really kind of, you can be about anywhere real quickly. Even, believe it or not, like Symphony Hall is just really right down the street, Mass Ave.
Yeah,
You can get
that's
there.
true.
All these places are really close. So it's a nice little spot in the city that's convenient to everything,
Yeah.
depending on traffic.
You ever get so Cassidy McNeely reported on this one.
Yes.
Do you ever get jealous of her? Because Bill sends her to the chocolate shop, the bar. Meanwhile, you're doing like court coverage and things.
Yeah, she gets good assignments, but she's good at that. I would not have excelled at that story whatsoever. It's just like, coming in with a camera. I might look a little out of place in there. I don't know. I just can't figure I would have pulled it off as well as she did.
Have you ever seen
Um,
that meme of Steve Buscemi pretending to be a high school kid with like the skateboard?
He's a very funny guy, very underrated.
He is.
He's one of my favorites. It's true. It's true. I couldn't have done it.
All right, let's close out with your relic story. Tell us about
The
this
relic
relic.
story. This
Yeah,
is interesting. So this is a
yeah.
story that was really popular in the 1850s and even afterward, and really died out around here. The Dorchester Historic Society has like a little page on it,
Okay.
but it's really unknown, and most people have not heard of it. But the internet, like many things, because it's a little bit conspiracy theory-ish, has given it a great deal of life that maybe we didn't even know about, somewhere off in the shadows of Wikipedia and other such things. So
Okay.
the story, this is, it's almost like I would call it a vase or a teapot or some sort of metal object.
Okay.
And so it all revolves around St. Peter's Church in Bowden Street, right?
Yep.
So St. Peter's Church is an older church. It's the second Catholic church parish established here. I think St. Greg's was first in Lower Mills.
So what does that make it, like 1800? 1800s.
1850s, yeah. So in the 1850s, they were establishing it. They met, temporarily in a lot of the places nearby, right there on Meeting House Hill,
Okay.
and then began to construct it. They had a strong population, mostly from people who were. It was the Irish immigrant population who were servants to the established kind of Brahmins, long
Yep.
time Meeting House Hill, the Mathers, and all the folks who, the very large houses there and such. So that population was really big, and they began to build the church. It was decided to build the church out of pudding stone because where they were putting the church was this massive block of pudding stone. Pudding stone is part of the story. So pudding stone is, I don't know if you've seen it. It's
Yeah.
the stone, yeah, okay, it
It's
comes
all
out of
through Dorchester Park, right? The like it looks like a
exactly.
pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it Roxbury pudding stone, but over here we just say pudding stone. I think it's good enough
What,
for me.
Roxbury garbage? Come on.
Yeah. This is Dot Life, not Rocks. Okay. Anyway, so they were blasting through the pudding stone to create the foundation, but at the same time they were making rock for the church. The church is actually made with the rock that was underneath it.
Okay.
If you go by, what you see on the outside is what was under the ground before.
That's very
And yeah, in the old days, I mean, blasting is actually an issue right now in Boston as they try to build on a lot of iffy sites. But in those days, blasting was probably less regulated, I would imagine, and they were really using a lot of dynamite to get rid of this rock. And it's very, it has its own history, so it's very unique to this area, Pudding Stone. And part of the story, I guess I should have to say this now, is that it's estimated to be 600 million years old.
okay.
A lot of people think it's glacial till, so like when the glaciers in the Ice Age melted, this was what was underneath, and this was the rock that was just smashed together. But that's what I thought for a long time until some years ago, and I learned that is not the truth. There's a former sort of like landmass or continent even that was down by the South Pole. I think it was called Avalonia, and it was volcanic, and over time it came up this way and eventually settled and kind of smashed into what is eastern Massachusetts, up through Greenland and around to like Ireland and Scotland.
This is real, or this is
real.
hypothesis?
This is geology from colleges and universities that are credited with leather-bound books and all those such things. No, this is true. And obviously nobody can really predict 600 million years ago. This is the best going geologic theory for stone, right? But they're pretty confident. And anyway, it basically exists between the Lynn Highlands, which is up by Saugus Revere line, all the way to the Blue Hills. And in between is basically where all the rocks were, they're the vestiges of these old massive mountain volcanoes that were there at one time. And that's what's left over. So that's what they're blasting through. So this is material that's potentially 600 million years old. Right? And one day in May, I think it was, they ignited a particularly large blast. And out of it came a rock which had some sort of like metal object in it. And the workers were perplexed. Okay, what is this thing? Okay. And then they began, hammering it out and, cleaning it up. And it was this impressive silver, they call it a vessel in the old days when it was in the newspaper the next day. And it had like this ornate flower design on it. It was maybe what you could, the city archaeologist thinks it's a hookah. Other people say, other sort of officials say it's a candlestick.
It does look like a candlestick to me, or like a
something like that, some sort of smoking or
like a what are those called?
Instrument.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not Catholic, as we all know.
Right. Anyway, so this object apparently was the workers on site, and many of the people on site said that it was embedded in this rock. When they blasted, it was in the rock, right? And it was finally done by some craftsmen, they said, from different times gone past, and it was said to have come from ancient Mesopotamia. That's what they said. This is the scientists, the historians of this day, are probably people looking to make money off of this thing, said this is Mesopotamian. It is 100,000 years old.
And
everybody,
what is their theory of how it made it into the Dorchester Pudding Stone rock?
Well, they didn't have much of it. They didn't know much about the pudding stone at the time, so they thought, well, this is something that changes our view on man and on where things were located and how it got there is a great mystery. Even at the time, it was a great mystery. Like I said, it was in the newspapers in Boston. It made it into an article of Scientific American. It was the talk of the town. It went to some museums in the area. And then at some point, several years after it started making the rounds in the museums, it disappeared. So it's gone to history. We don't know what happened to it.
It's gone still.
It's gone. It has disappeared. It could be. There's some theories that it could be, in somebody's collection. Yeah, buried in my walls and the
Your
radiator.
radiator.
You know, that's a good idea. What I found in my radiator. I found this Mesopotamian jug.
Goblet.
Goblet. Right, the goblet. Um, no, so that's it's lost. So nobody can really prove or disprove it. However, our city archaeologist Joe Bagley, as well as some archaeologists from UMass Boston, I shared the story with them, and they said nonsense. It's not Mesopotamian. It's not anything special. Their take was that it was something from the 1800s in India. Bagley thought it was a hookah.
Hmm.
Even the picture that was with the story has some controversy because nobody was really sure where that picture came from. It could be the vessel, or it could be something somebody thought looked like the vessel, because in 1985, Reader's Digest published a story of the vessel using that picture. And people
Okay.
said, "Where did you get this?" And they're like, "We don't know." And nobody's really sure. So that could be the vessel, or maybe not.
Or it could be something completely random.
Yes, even the picture is suspect.
Yeah.
But that's the best we have. And it continued on, I guess, through probably the 20s, maybe. It was probably lost in the 1910, 1920s. And nobody ever really knew what happened to it after that. Now, it really got forgotten. There was nobody really talking about this at all. Um, in Dorchester, right? I kind of got acquainted with it by a book that this guy John Joseph Fahey, who's a real expert on St. Peter's Church, and things a little less, wonky. He's talking about architecture. The ceiling in the church is a phenomenal example of architecture that does not exist in the New World, really.
Oh,
So the church is very special in many other ways. But he put this in. He has a book that he just republished, a second printing,
mm,
at the end of last year, and it's a really nice book, hardcover. It's really a cool book to have. You can read it about the church, and it's interesting. But he put that in there, and I was like, this is pretty incredible. And he's like, yeah, what do you think of the vessel? And I'm like, I think it's crazy. And so I ran it by, like I said, some archaeologists and stuff like that. In the course of doing that, I found out that the vessel has been alive and well on the internet, despite being forgotten about at St. Peter's or Dorchester or Meeting House Hill. So it even has its own Wikipedia page. You might be careful if you try to Google it, because the Wikipedia page is called the Dorchester Pot. So type Dorchester Pot into Google. I'm not sure what you're going to
you might
find,
get
but
Surf's Up Cannabis, which we covered last week.
yes, you did. It's not open yet, but you got an inside view. That was good. Um, so it has its own Wikipedia page. There are a number of alternative archaeologists, not the city archaeologists, but alternative archaeologists who believe this proves that man is more than 600 million years old, that they were making this object at that time on this landmass, and it did go into the pudding stone and is that old.
Okay.
Um, yes, there is a Hindu, I can't remember, American-born Hindu creationist
Okay.
believe this. There's an author who has written a book, and he used this as a key example of why he thinks that humans are much older. There are also um, theorists who are into like ancient aliens. I don't know. There's a show called Ancient
Heard of
Aliens.
this, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of on like kind of like the B-list channels way in the back, and it plays on a like 24 hours a day. The same show like every 10 minutes. Anyway, they have subscribed to the Dorchester Pot, or the vessel, as evidence that there were aliens on Earth before us, and this is something they left behind. And it got all mixed up 600 million years ago into the rock.
Mr. Fahey has a slightly different take on it. Right. He thinks it was
Yes,
a prankster thing.
yes.
Yeah.
So he thinks, so there was a guy, Percival Street is right next to the church,
Hmm.
and Percival Street is named after a famous U.S. Navy commander whose last name was Percival. He was a commander of the USS Constitution,
Yeah.
among many, many other ships. And he was a character.
Mad
And
Jack.
Mad Jack. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Mad Jack. And he was a cranky captain. It was a real thing. And he was actually used as um, in stories as a caricature because he was the real life cranky captain. So a lot of people thought Mr. Fahey thinks that he had something to do with it. He lived right next door to where the blasting was occurring. He was there at the time, by all accounts. And he would be the kind of guy who might have gone over and stuck this weird little vessel that he might have. Sailors were bringing things back home from sea all the time. It was a common thing. They looked for the weirdest thing they could find and they would bring it back. It was, a peculiarity. That's where we get curio cabinets, curiosities.
Oh, okay.
Curio cabinet. You had a cabinet full of weird things that you or sailors would bring back from overseas. And it was probably something, if this was him, that he would have gathered on his trips all over the world in the Navy. And he had it perhaps around his house. It was from India, maybe, and he just said, "Oh, let me stick it right here by the blasting," or something like that. Or maybe he was crazy enough to have buried it years earlier, and it just blew up.
Or maybe he just like was over there and dropped it somehow.
Yeah, or threw it at them and said, "Ah," I don't.
Stop blasting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would do it. Anyway,
We're getting some rage out of you this episode with you do a standoff and you throw a thing
well,
at
it's
a
winter.
worker.
I mean, I'm sick of it. It's February. You can't go anywhere. Keep having to shovel. And man,
I wonder how Percival would feel about knowing that 300 years later, there's still people
he's
using his prank as a
he's being blamed. That's for sure.
yeah.
And perhaps that has something to do with it. That they blasted. It was not indeed in the rock, though it could be. None of us can
How
prove that
would
it
they
wasn't.
know? How would these workers be able to say, "Oh my gosh, it came out of the rock"? Like they weren't
Well,
watching.
that's what the archaeologists say. It's
Yeah.
that if it was nearby and it was a major blast, it would have went flying in the air, and
Yeah.
maybe they thought it came out of the rock. Um, the chances of the piece of the story where they kind of chiseled it out of the rock is probably absolutely got to be false because it wouldn't have. That's not going to happen. And it was very brilliant and silver and finely done.
So not conducive to being under layers of rock and
For 600 million years. But the magic of the story is that, as Mr. Fahey said, it's a magical place,
yeah.
St. Peter's, Meeting House Hill. There's a lot of interesting things that have happened there. It's a place of reverence, and I think he used the word sacred.
Okay.
And also a couple of the priests of Dorchester folks who have served there and still serve there feel the same way. And it just adds to the mystery of the place.
Yeah.
And none of us can say that it's not true, and none of us can say that it is true. So there you have it. That's the Dorchester pot. That's the vessel. It remains a mystery. The long forgotten here. It's back in the public light.
All right, listeners, we're putting out an appeal. If you know the whereabouts of the Dorchester pot.
That's the other thing. We hope that maybe there could be some of these, like the Museum of Science was not where it is today, but it did exist. It could be there. It could be somewhere buried in some, they said this thing's a fraud, and some guy tossed it over in the corner. Maybe that's where it still is. Who knows?
Well, and also maybe it doesn't look like what's in the picture. It seems like it's very likely that it might not. So they might not even realize that this is the vessel from the Dorchester pot.
It's true. It's true. All we really know is the description in the newspaper the next day, or I think it was a couple days later. It was a very, very good description with measurements and all kinds of stuff like that. It wasn't a big object. It was only, like 6 inches tall and, a few inches wide. It was pretty small.
How much Dorchester pot do you have to smoke to believe in the Dorchester pot, do you think?
You just have to be a American-born Hindu creationist. I don't I don't know if
Well,
you need the pot or not.
well, that's a cool story. I'm glad that you shared that. And we should check out Mr. Fahey's book,
Yes. Yeah,
Food
it's
Success.
worth it. It's worth the buy. You can pick it up at the I think at the church office, which is by St. Peter's Teen Center on Bowdoin Street, kind of in the back, certain times, and he can be reached as well on email.
Nice.
Yeah,
So, what's your weekend look like? Digging? More digging? Hopefully
I'm,
not.
I'm done with that. I'm not going
Yeah.
to do any snow shoveling core activities.
Same.
Or yeah, I what is it? The weekend is a quiet one. Um, there's going to be a few events. There's quite an interesting Black History Month event on Friday at the Strand.
Oh,
It's
nice.
yeah, it's a group. It's like teens and young adults, and even some older kids. From It's a group called Origination. It's a dance, spoken word music group. A lot of kids and young people from this area, but it's based in Forest Hills.
Oh, okay.
Pretty well known group, and they're going to perform at the Strand on Friday, 7 p.m.
Okay.
$25, worth the price of admission. Plus, it's a fundraiser, and it's called Our Story. So I'm going to be attending that on Friday, and that'll probably be as much as I can do. I'll just
Yeah.
get some bunch of ice packs and put them on my lower back and my knees. And
NHL is back finally now that the Olympics are over. So we've got a
yeah,
Sabres game tonight for the first time as we're recording on Wednesday. Looking
right, right. Are you a Jack Eichel fan? Were you an Eichel fan?
No,
No,
no.
okay.
He
He
left
played for the,
us.
I know, but he did play there, and people loved him at the time.
Now they boo him when he
Did
returns.
they? Oh my
We don't
gosh.
like when people leave us.
Well, I guess we don't either, because Marchand, he kind of got a little razzing when he left too,
Probably. Yeah,
to the
probably.
Panthers, but that might not have been his fault. I don't know.
He deserves to be razzed wherever he goes.
He had a son, stepson in Charlestown youth hockey.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was funny because he would come into the rink there and just like any other parent and sit down. You're like, do a double take, and you're like, no.
He's got a pretty distinctive face. Yeah.
Well, at first you're like, that couldn't be him, and then you're like, yeah, I think that is him, and of course it was. But
Well, in the spirit of this conversation, I think I might go to the Pudding Stone Tavern this weekend and do some trivia.
good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good place. You go there. That's Mission Hill, right?
Yeah, it's very divey. That's the usual trivia place for the crew. So,
Excellent. Yeah. Well, Mission Hill is I guess Mission Hill and Fort Hill have to be the capital of Pudding Stone.
are they?
Well, unless you're going to the Blue Hills, but that's a park.
Salmon Hill too, right? Isn't that pretty
It's true. Yeah, I keep forgetting
stony?
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. There's a lot of it out there.
Anyway, it's good to see you. Thanks for
Good to
joining.
be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Maybe
Thanks for letting
next
me
time we'll
talk
be in
about.
person.
I'm all for it.
Same.
Dot Life is sponsored in part by the Dorchester Reporter, Dorchester's own community newspaper and online home for all things Dorchester at dotnews.com. The Reporter, owned and operated by the Forey family, has been laser focused on Dorchester and the surrounding neighborhoods of Boston since 1983. That longevity and experience shows in its award-winning coverage every week. The Reporter is our go-to source for authentic stories about the people, places, and events that matter most to our daily lives. We are proud to partner with The Reporter and Dot News. And you can support the important journalism provided by The Reporter. Just go to dotnews.com to subscribe today. It's the best deal in town and helps keep our local community journalism alive and well. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dot Life. We are inside of Tavolo restaurant here on Dot Avenue in the Ashmont Adams Neighborhood, and we're joined by the members of the executive board of the Ashmont Adams Civic Association. Hi guys.
Hi, Erin.
Thanks for joining. Low-key, this is my favorite Dorchester neighborhood because I live here and because the people here are great. So can I have you all introduce yourselves? I'll start with Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy Fadden, president of the Ashmont Adams Neighborhood Association.
I'm Mary Beth Diener, Vice President of
Yes.
the Ashmont Adams Neighborhood Association.
And I'm Gail Ravgala, the secretary.
Of
AANA.
And I'm Mary Kelly. I'm the treasurer of Ashmont Adams Neighborhood Association.
wonderful. So tell me a little bit about Ashmont Adams. What are the boundaries of this neighborhood?
Okay, well, the official boundaries are Dorchester Avenue, Ashmont Street, Adams Street, and Gallivan Boulevard. And there are 850 households within those boundaries. But we're a very welcoming group, and if people live on the fringes, we're happy to have them join us and
Infiltrate.
infiltrate our neighborhood. Exactly.
We
See
actually-
what they're missing.
We do often get some external folks at the meetings, just
We
like
do.
the fringe
We do,
people.
and they contribute a lot, so we're
Yeah.
happy to have them.
And in the last year, it's been Huron Circle.
I was going to say.
Has
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing we need to
Right.
make sure we talk about is the tea situation. But before we get there, tell me what's like interesting about this neighborhood. What are the cool landmarks people should check out if they come visit?
Well, one of the most interesting architecturally and historically is the All Saints Church, which I have some notes here, was built in 1893 by a very famous architect, Ralph Adams Cram. He was only 26 years old when he designed the church, but he went on to become a noted designer of American churches. In 2013, there was a push to do a renovation of the church, restore a lot of the masonry and so forth, the stained glass windows, all of that. And then in 2015, it won several preservation awards.
It's a beautiful church.
It is.
It's a
it is.
beautiful
Yeah, it is
church.
beautiful.
and the bell tower.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
used
it
to
has
be able
a
to
bell
go up there.
tower.
It has two pretty famous organs, and they're known for their music program there. So there's lots of ecclesiastical music events, but the church has also been very generous with the space to the neighborhood, and there's many concerts that happen there. The Dot Jazz concert.
In community gatherings.
I might be wrong. I might be giving lots of misinformation right now, but I believe the All Saints Church in Dorchester, UK, is the sister church to the one here in our
I
neighborhood.
think that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other notable? Well, we've got Ashmont Station,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
the terminus of the Red Line.
Yes,
at this end.
exactly. Yeah, I always wanted to do a story about the two ends of the other end of the red line,
Alewife?
which was sort of
Yeah.
Cambridge and Dorchester, very different ending points. But before the renovation of Ashmont Station, it was really not something to be proud of. It was in terrible disrepair.
Was it like uniquely in disrepair, or was every T station kind of like that?
I think
it was run down.
I think it was more
I mean,
run down.
as much as saying disrepair, though, I have to say that was like a huge hotspot for me to take my kids because the trolley goes
Well,
right
that's-
there. Like it
that's
used to
notable.
come right
Yeah.
around. You can like watch it going around. You can play Frogger between the buses and the trolley to try to get over to Dorchester Ave. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Are your
Yeah.
kids both okay today?
they're all fine.
Actually, the trolley before this renovation was free. I mean, you came to Ashmont Station and it was a connector out to Milton. Yeah. And Mattapan, and if you came and only got on the trolley, you didn't have to pay, which we did several times to go to, there was the ice cream place where the Star Market was.
The ice cream. Yeah.
It was like a Brigham's, and there was a stop, in Central Square in Milton, and you could get up and walk up to the ice cream place.
I think we should actually advocate for the trolley being free again, because that would solve that whole gate on the back end
Exactly.
problem. Like, just let it be free. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm speaking of course, is if you get off of red line at Ashmont Station and want to exit through the Radford Lane exit, you have to be let out by a T worker, which is wild.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Well, it always interested me with all the technology that we have today, they couldn't figure that
Yeah.
out.
They still keep saying they can do something with the Charlie card, but it hasn't happened yet.
Has it been?
Yeah, but now you're just going to pay with your credit card, so.
Or you wave your bag over.
Yeah. Or you
My bags are never big enough. It just yells at me.
It's kind of hard to do if you get a second person to do it while you're standing back.
So I have to always travel with a buddy so I can get out.
The tea's going to be at your door.
Anyway, I was going to say, I have the Tea Police patrolling here
You were
pretty
talking
soon.
about the great upgrades to Ashmont Station.
right back to that. Yeah.
Actually, architecturally, it is a beautiful
pretty.
building.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
a beautiful building.
Yeah.
And Vince Drozier, who the plaza is named after, I do remember him as loving the cocktail napkins for visions, for writing or sketching out visions. He was a very notable and worthy person.
And that whole plaza where the farmers market is held, that's named after him.
Yeah.
What's that mask on there, that artwork?
The sleeping moon.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I'm going to forget Joe's last name. Lived on Ashmont Hill.
Okay.
And he's a nationally known sculptor. There was some kind of a competition, and people got to vote on different entries of what could go on in that space. And so Joe won the competition. He had already carved that. It wasn't carved just for that space,
Okay.
but
Can you imagine? He's
it
like, what
needed
the
a
hell am I going to do
home,
with
and
this
he found it
giant,
there.
heavy moon? And then he's like, I can put it on the plaza. Please vote.
And then tip it on its side.
well, some people
sleeping
find it
moon.
very playful.
Well, originally, too, there was a chef's hat on it. And of course,
okay.
that didn't last long.
Right. And the Santa hat.
Well, it was
Over the
Nancy.
years.
Nancy Anderson used to make it for chili cook-off. I think she put the chef's hat
Yes,
on,
yes.
and then for Christmas she put the Santa hat on.
Yeah.
So you're reminding me of another neighborhood landmark, which is the Freshettes have a pig out in front of their
Yes.
house
Yes.
on Carew
Yes.
Street that they adorn with all kinds of
Yeah.
timely garments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holiday seasonal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or political. That's a little message.
I haven't knit a hat for the pig yet.
Oh yeah, the pig needs a red hat.
Yeah.
I should mention, as we're talking about artists, the mural behind us, and there's another one in Tavolo that is done by April Clay, and they're both really, really nicely done. Yeah.
Right. And speaking of the trolley, the one in the other room is the trolley.
Yeah.
As it was. And that was a big fight. They wanted to take the trolleys out and replace them with buses.
Okay.
And people really were visceral about how they felt about keeping
What are
the
we talking about time frame wise? When was this? The remodel conversation?
It was, I don't know, maybe started in the late 90s.
Okay.
Because I remember going to the dedication of the Trademark Building, and Marty Walsh came and spoke, and he was a state representative,
Okay.
before he was mayor, and he sort of recalled how that initially got going and how long it took
Okay.
to get us there.
And I think it was still 2005. It was still the older one.
Yeah.
Because I remember still walking over with the kids.
Well, I can just say I remember noting that the Caruth building was fully built and occupied, and they were still working on the train station. So,
Difference between public and private development. So tell me more about the neighborhood itself in terms of who lives there. Like, there's a lot of single family homes in this neighborhood. And a lot of big single family homes, kind of like a Melville Park, but almost even more spread out, I would say, than Melville Park and Ashmont Hill.
right. So that goes back to the original design. So it was the Caruths who developed the property, and they had in mind to do it as a more of a garden design, which, well, Nathan
Nathan was the son of Herbert.
Herbert.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So they did the garden, horticultural gardens all through the area.
Yeah.
From Beaumont up to Ashmont Street.
Yeah.
And so the horses and carriages were not on site, they were off site. No, I've never verified that the stables were actually down on Minot Street, but that's what I've heard.
I've heard that too, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're sticking with that story.
Which is why we don't have carriage houses really in this
Yeah,
neighborhood.
exactly.
Uniquely. Yeah.
And so the Caruth's house on Beaumont Street is actually considered one of the primo landmark architectural homes in the area. Yeah. Interestingly enough, the Peabodys, who Peabody Square is named after, and who really funded the building of All Saints Church, didn't live here. They lived at 25 Commonwealth Avenue.
Huh.
But they continued to support the church. Even after he died, his widow continued to support the church in the neighborhood, so.
Well, Dorchester wasn't incorporated into Boston until the late 1800s.
Yeah, 1870-ish, yeah.
Yeah. So this was more, I was told, of a more fresh air, beach, sea air, countryside. Right.
Beach resort.
Yeah.
I still think of it that way. Neighborhood boundary bisects both Adams Village and this Dot Ave Peabody Square area. So we have half of both of those little like commercial areas in our civic, which is unusual. Some of the civics I've spoken with, like Ashmont Hill and Melville Park, don't have any commercial areas. Do you find that you gravitate to one or the other, or do you kind of frequent both? Is there like an east side, west side thing going on here?
I don't know, my family kind of, in the early days of living here, gravitated toward Adams Village.
Okay.
Just because I think the kids went to school at St. Brendan, so that's where they went, and they went to the stores down there. We used to have a drugstore you could walk to.
Okay.
It was really a nice a grocery store, sporting goods. We've had a lot of
Hardware? Was there a hardware store?
Yes.
Blasies?
Yeah. So we gravitated towards that.
Okay.
Now I kind of gravitate up to Tavolo and that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of choices now in restaurants.
There's a lot of choices,
And
yeah.
yeah.
6 sit-down restaurants in Adams Village.
I think when I moved here in 2020, there was only 3 maybe, and one of those is now gone and replaced. So yeah, that's and they're all good choices, good options. Tell me about the civic itself. So you're one of the more active civics, and you do things differently than others, and you meet in person, which most of them don't anymore, following COVID. You hand deliver, and I know this because I am one of the delivery people.
Thank you very much, Erin.
Monthly neighborhood newsletters. Tell me why you think those things are important and how that supports the civic's mission.
Well, I think we do hold the monthly meetings. But as Gail has said, not everyone is going to make the meetings. So, we need to continue to draw people into maybe a different idea or a different event or something that would spark their, involvement. So, we've done an awful lot.
What other things have you done?
Well, let's see. We just had the 50-50 Christmas party, 50-50 raffle, which was held here at Tavolo.
Didn't I win?
You almost did. Second annual.
I think actually Mary Beth's husband won.
So then we have the Flag Day on Rundell Park. We raised the wonderful, beautiful big flag.
Talk about Rundell Park a little bit, the smallest park in Boston. Yeah.
And we are,
Oh, and was it the Civic that put the flagpole up?
yes.
Yes, Pat O'Neill noticed that the wooden flagpole was going to come down in a storm someday, so she was able to make her magic, and got a new flagpole put up, about a 50-footer, and so we put up a flag June 14th or thereabouts, and serve hot dogs because of the all-American food. We do fundraisers. We've had block parties before, like wine gatherings. We've done with a yard sale, pumpkin carving. That we've been doing that for years. And recently, Mary Beth has brought in Oktoberfest to go along with the pumpkin carving, which we do 50 pumpkins about or more.
Yeah, probably about 50.
Yeah.
Between big and small, maybe even like 60.
60, and then, probably grill up 50 bratwursts and, have some beers and whatever else people want to bring. But that's always a fun time. Yeah. Yeah. And then, well, the Moaners. In Ashland.
Yes. You gotta talk about
That's
the
important.
Moaners.
Yes, right. The men of Ashmont Neighborhood. So it's a moan, but they're moaners. So they meet, I think every 6 weeks, or is it monthly?
No, monthly.
Maybe monthly now.
First Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday of the month, and they choose where they want to go. It could be someone's house or a restaurant or.
I think that's great. I think men need more opportunities to be social and
Oh, come on. That's when they get together and just have fun.
They
And
moan.
anytime we get together, we have a project and we bring our notebooks and we make lists and we contact other people and say we need help. The moaners sit around and moan. I mean,
yeah. There has been a shocking lack of men on committees, we've noticed over the last few years.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and also, we have to put a shout out to you for Dorchfest. You were the one that came to us back in 2022.
You all were the ones who said I wasn't crazy, so.
Or we're as crazy as you. Take it either way.
I feel like I remember giving a blank stare, like, how in the world?
I do remember that stare, yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Well, look at what it's turned into, though.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate to have
Amazing.
had you come.
It's a fantastic part of the neighborhood, and all the people who get involved are great. It's really fun.
Okay, so let somebody explain to our listening audience
Okay,
what Dorchfest is.
okay, go ahead, Gail.
Well, they've been popping up around, and people just show up on porches and play, and there's no organization to a lot of them that happen. Some of them, like the one in Somerville, has some city support to it. But Erin's concept, which we all really loved, was the idea that these musicians could come. I mean, it was still sort of COVID times.
Yeah.
And they needed to be paid.
Right, and that was the main.
And that was sort of the key to it.
Yeah.
And then, it was just amazing. People signed on right away. We had no problem getting people to commit their porches. And as you said, we have a lot of these big, beautiful Victorian houses, which lovely porches. The bands responded really well. We did some fundraising. We managed to get some corporate sponsorship, which really, we couldn't do it without the corporate sponsorship, I don't think, as well as we do. And then everybody just pitched in. It's just been an amazing, again, it's the people that you're never going to see at a monthly meeting who come out and really want to get behind this thing. So eventually, Greater Ashmont Main Streets, who I also have to give a shout out to for all the help that they give the civics, is now sort of taken over the administrative part of it. But thousands of people come to this wonderful event, which is the first Saturday in June every year, folks. So.
And we should mention Carol Washington and Rachel Felix also were super involved. But you all saw it for a very abstract idea and were willing to kind of throw your hat in and make it happen. So, yeah.
Why wouldn't someone just try it? Yes, it does.
What's the worst that could happen?
Don't think I didn't catastrophize.
We were instrumental, or Pat, I should say, was instrumental, Pat O'Neill, in the chili cook-off for 13 years. And we had, as a committee, raised, and I remember the last time we sent over a check was 15,000
yeah.
to the Dorchester Day Parade. So, yeah.
So we didn't feel like we didn't know how to exactly do it.
Yeah.
Right, but
We
were
had
kind of-
some, yeah.
You know, some idea of how to volunteer and, you know, how much work it takes.
You know, you mentioned Pat O'Neill. I want to talk about her, and one thing I want to talk about is the memorial room in another landmark here, which I don't know if it's technically in our neighborhood, but we're going to claim it
Yeah.
because
Yes.
it's called Adams Branch, and we're the library,
Yes.
BPL, which is also newly renovated.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about Pat.
She was a force.
She was a whirlwind.
Nobody said no to her. And when she called you, you knew you were going to have to say yes. Like, just even the elected officials all felt that way. What does Pat need now?
And she was president before you for
Yes, she
many
was.
years.
Yeah.
right?
Yes, and I was vice president, and by default, I was where I am now. But Pat, I guess, groomed me pretty well. Yes, but this is why we need 4 of us to make our association work, because she did so much.
Yeah.
She did so much for the neighborhood. She really did.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then she would have, well, another thing that our neighborhood does is we used to go to the Paw Sox baseball games, and now they've moved up to Worcester, so we've been to the Woo Sox. But when Pat was able to do it, she would have a pool party back at her house after the ball game. After we all came back from, getting off the bus and going to her house, and another 3-4 hours, and kids would be swimming in her pool. And
I've heard stories about that bus.
Yeah.
They're all true, Erin. All true.
Yeah, that's what makes our neighborhood great.
I want to talk about some of the issues that come up, especially in those civic meetings. So one of them is always development, right? There's typically either a developer or a person in the neighborhood who's trying to modify something. How has development changed this neighborhood over the
I
years?
don't think we have as much development as other communities have.
Yeah.
We do have occasional little spots.
Yeah.
There was two a couple of years ago on Minot Street. I think we're expecting another one soon.
Okay.
But
I counted 5.
5.
Yep.
But, and they're not the giant ones. Like Minot Street, there's a big single family there, and they want to put in over 30 units now. So we're not faced with that kind of growth here.
Yeah.
It is tight, though. We're feeling it. And
Yeah.
we're also feeling the prices.
Yeah.
When these condos come in, they're at $750,000, $800,000. And that's just not sustainable for
Right.
most of us.
Right. We are getting the ones too now at the old the Post, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100 Gallivan Boulevard.
Yeah.
24 units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're having-
Not senior housing, by the way.
No.
It's all changed.
Yeah.
they're coming to our meeting in
Yeah.
March,
Yeah.
Are they?
the
Yes.
planning,
What date is the March meeting?
March 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It'll be input and discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other things that come up? Oh, the tea.
The tea.
The tea.
The Peabody Square issue.
Yeah.
That issue comes up a bit.
Tell us about the Peabody Square issue.
Well, further down the block, there tend to be groups of people kind of hanging out with trash problems and just kind of unpleasant things.
Loitering
and this
Some drugs.
Yeah, on the way in, I was like, yeah, okay. And we work with the police closely on trying to, they send police down to walk the beat, to stay on the neighborhood, that kind of thing. There's also been problems after school when the kids all get out of school. And so there's a big Boston police and MBTA police there now in the afternoons when the kids get out of school. So that's an issue we deal with. We deal with all kinds of safety issues. If we haven't heard of one recently where they've been breaking into cars. Well, they actually don't break in. People, unfortunately, leave their doors open.
Yeah.
And somebody comes along, checks the door, and just cleans the car out.
Yeah.
And
Lock your
that's-
doors.
Yeah, lock
Yeah.
your doors. It's a simple thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of issues I think we mostly deal with.
And the T one is really, they've been doing the track work along which Bushnell Street, and then fixing the Codman Yard rail yard, which is a multi-year project that's affected.
Well, and that's why Heron Circle got involved with us, because they were having real problems with the T responding to the neighborhood's needs. And the T actually said to them, it would be better for you if you get involved with a neighborhood association.
And they're kind of on an island out there, right? They don't really have a
it's a lovely little cul-de-sac.
It is, yeah.
But that's why they joined us. And we've had some pretty steady numbers coming from them to come to the meetings.
Yeah.
Not just following the T issues, but other issues.
Yeah. What do you think makes Ashmont Adams different than Savin Hill, Ashmont Hill, different areas of Dorchester?
Well, I think as a civic association, we focus, well, we don't focus, but we spend a lot of time on social events, as Cindy just said. And we're very open. I don't feel like we're cliquey. I think, we greet new people, we talk to new people. I think we're pretty friendly when somebody comes to the doors for the meeting or whatever, And I think but I've been involved, not involved, but I've gone to other meetings, and ours are much more pleasant.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of disagreements that we have to deal with.
Even when there are sometimes, it's not, I guess sometimes it's kind of raucous, but it's not like, it's not uncomfortable. It's just conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly it. Having a civil conversation, and respecting someone else's views on issues.
Mary Beth, you've got younger kids, and they're getting a little older now, but
I was going to say they're not young anymore, but
neighborhood. What was it like for kids growing up in Ashmont Adams?
I mean, they have a bunch of friends, and the friends are still, even though living in Boston, everyone goes to different schools. It doesn't matter that you live in the area. So a lot of their friends, they went to different elementary schools, different high schools, but they are all still really good friends today.
Through the
so
neighborhood.
It's so nice. Yeah. Either like through the neighborhood directly or adjacent, but it's a really good, like just to see and knowing a lot of the parents, because we all grew up, our kids all grew up together and things like that. It's just really nice. And it's walkable. It's not like you have to worry about a bunch of stoplights or anything within our little area. They can walk up the street to a friend's house or things like that. So it's really nice.
I guess just to close, what are the things that are coming up that people should maybe think about taking a trip down here for? You just had a puzzle exchange.
We did. Puzzle exchange party. Yep. We turn everything into a party, so.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know, including a podcast recording, by the way.
I was going to say, we could have just said, bring your puzzles to the meeting and exchange, but no, we had to turn it into a party.
Right.
So.
But going back to both Vince and Pat, I have to say their philosophy was you do something business, something involved with the city, a zoning thing, something boring, and then you have to do a social thing, something fun to keep. That's how you keep people involved and interested. And we're really good at the second part.
Exactly. I don't know. What are we coming up with?
Well, flag raising, Dorchfest.
Dorchfest is the
heavily on
big.
Or if anyone has any ideas, there's no idea too small, too big. We will listen to anything for social events, fundraisers, whatever. Just bring it up and we'll see what we can do.
Amazing. Well, thanks for coming out to Tavolo tonight, ladies.
Well, thank you for your time, Erin.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to seeing this.
Today's episode is supported by The Record Co., Boston's leading provider of accessible music creation spaces. The Record Co. is addressing a critical shortage of affordable creative spaces in our city, serving more than 4,000 monthly users across 131 communities. They preserved almost 48,000 square feet of professional studio and rehearsal space at rates up to 90% below market value, ensuring Boston's musicians have a place to create regardless of economic needs. Through partnerships with Bunker Hill Community College, offering professional certification programs that lead to sustainable music careers. This vital work is at risk. As creative spaces continue to disappear across Boston, the Record Co. needs community support to maintain these essential resources. Their Amplify Boston campaign directly funds space preservation and career development programs. Visit therecordco.org today to donate, to become a monthly supporter, or learn about partnership opportunities. Every contribution helps keep Boston's music ecosystem thriving. The Record Co., creating accessible pathways to music creation since 2010. Welcome back to Dot Life. For this week's Tiny Dot concert, we're in a slightly different venue, although we are shockingly still at the Record Co. We're just in the luxury suite. Just kidding, we're in the garage, but it's dope. So we wanted to do a set down here, and we're starting it with an interview with
Monument Hill.
And they are going to talk way more than I am during this interview. Can you all introduce yourselves? We'll start over here on the end.
Yeah, I'm Torin. I'm rhythm guitar.
I'm B. William Brooks. I am the vocalist for the band.
I'm Joe Megarolis. I play bass.
I'm James Gordon. I play the drums.
I'm Peter McLeod. I play lead guitar and backing vocals.
And you all are from all throughout New England.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's not originally from New England. I grew up north of Atlanta, but everyone else is from New England, yeah.
Okay. And who drives the furthest to get to Record Co?
Definitely Torin. Torin drives from Maine.
Just so everyone knows, I drive from Maine.
Are we talking like Portland, Maine, or like Nova Scotia, Maine? Like,
no, like
okay.
south of Portland.
Okay.
Not really that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're actually just kvetching for no reason. Got it. Okay.
He does that. He's known to.
Yeah. He's an only child. That's why he's like
no
this.
siblings.
We found out a lot about each other today.
Yeah.
So tell me about your music. What do you play? What are your inspos?
Yeah, so we define ourselves as a post-hardcore band, mostly just because we can't settle on like a single genre, I guess. So our contemporaries would really be like Alexis on Fire, and like Boxcar Racer and Polaris and just like really disparate bands, and we kind of just make whatever music feels right in the moment. So we definitely have tracks like Bondage on a Budget, which are like very old school punk, and we have tracks like Beast of Paradise, which are like new American metal, you know.
And Pete, you said you don't listen to Alexis on Fire.
No, I don't, not at all. Or actually, I also don't listen to Boxcar Racer either.
Okay. So you're the outlier, or do you just have different tastes?
I mean, actually, the tastes are pretty similar. Just those specific two, I don't really listen to. But actually, no. Like, I do love Polaris. That is a big influence for me as well. So.
And how did you all meet?
Well, it started with I met Brendan actually at an old job that we used to work.
Yeah, we worked at a shitty bowling alley.
It was really shitty. It was awful. I hated every minute of it. Also, just a really quick fun fact. Even though I'm from New England, I hate the cold, and I had to stand outside, which was like my least favorite part during the winter.
It was bowling outside?
Yeah, no, because I was a security guard. That would be sick, actually.
If security guard at a bowling alley?
Yeah, because it was we had to ID people over 18. This is really not that interesting. Having to do it this far. But anyway, I met him, and then I had started writing a bunch of random songs, some of which I think that we're using, and I think I just made like a post on Facebook asking if anyone wanted to sing over it, and Brendan was like, "I will." And
it was during COVID, and I was drunk in my house, and I was like, yes, absolutely, I would love to do that. That
Give
sounds
me
like a great
anything
time
to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I met Brendan bartending actually at Grand 10 Distillery, which
I was trying to remember which of you worked at Grand 10.
Yeah.
we both did.
Okay.
We met there, and he kind of introduced the
Rest in
idea of
peace.
starting something with Peter. Yeah, R.I.P. Grand
Hey,
10.
they're coming back.
That's right.
They are coming
Drink
back.
Grand 10. But yeah, we met over working there. I heard kind of Peter's story, and they were looking for a former band, and Brendan knew I played bass, and kind of went off from there.
And what about James and Torin?
So I had known James from back when I lived out in Ayer, Massachusetts. And actually, I initially met him at a show an old band of mine was playing. And then I actually asked the drummer at the time, I was like, hey, is this James guy any good at drumming? And for what it's worth, this guy was very egotistical. And so the fact that he said that James is an even better drummer than he was, I was just like, oh, dang.
And Joe and I, like, we pretty much grew up together. We knew each other since like 8th grade or something like that. Yeah, so we've kind of just always been around each other, I guess.
We shanghaied Torin.
Nice.
Yeah, we stole him off a dock.
We're like left Twix, right Twix kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so me and Peter got going and like writing stuff and everything, and it kind of slowed down because Peter found out that he had a brain tumor. Unlike Kindergarten Cop, it was a tumor. And so we kind of had to pump the brakes. And then when he was kind of recovering from that, he was like just all in. He just wanted to make creative stuff, and I kind of thought it was off the table, you know. And so when he came back and he was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry, I was kind of out of it for a little bit," I was like, "Yeah man, let's go all in." And so we just kind of brought together as the people that we wanted to play music with, and now here we are.
Yeah, how dare you be out of it for a bit when you
I know.
What's really cool though is most of the album that is coming out later this year, I actually wrote while going through chemotherapy. And what's actually kind of funny is all the angry songs are where during like all the, like the happy, where like, oh, everything's kind of cool, and all the happy songs are when I felt like really awful. So yeah, I don't know, really excited for it.
Are you good now?
I hope so. I was pronounced well. It's not remission for when it's a brain tumor. It's now in surveillance. So I just every now and again I have an MRI to check up. But it was definitely an experience. I had to go through brain surgery. I still have like the scar on the side of my head too. But it was really nice just having music as sort of just an outlet. Because I mean, there was a period for about 6 weeks where I couldn't even work after surgery. And just being able to have something, because my fiance was really, well, she's my fiance now. She was just my girlfriend at the time, but she was really encouraging me because she loved a lot of the music I had been writing early on. She actually helped me pay for the guitar to actually like start writing a lot of this. So,
and then he immediately defaced it with stickers.
You have
got
to.
the stickers for me too. Actually.
You have.
And it was great. It was like all stickers of like my 3 favorite things, which are like Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball Z, and Star Trek: Next Generation.
He's interviewing himself. He'll keep going.
He will. He will.
So, how often do you play together? Do you practice regularly?
We practice weekly. Yeah, we
Wow.
practice every single week.
Usually about 4 hours per session.
Yeah, one of the
Usually on
things I think I'm most proud of when we play shows is the bands that we play with. The compliment we get the most is like, "You guys are so tight as a band, and like so put together." And it's like, yeah, dude, we rehearse so much. Like we really do care about how we sound live and how we sound in the studio, and some people would probably think it's overboard, but we want to be tight. I think if you pay $10 or $15, $20, whatever you pay to see the show that we're on, I think we should be as tight and sound as good as we possibly can. So that's what we're trying to give everybody, you know.
Yeah. So speaking of shows, when do you play? When can people see you?
Our next show is in Manchester, New Hampshire at
Okay.
Bad Burger, which is a really cool joint. It's a burger joint that turns into a venue at night.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
We've had 2 shows there already. They're always fantastic. We're really excited if you're able to make it, anyone.
It's closer for you, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And are you on all the streamings? Like, how can people find you? What
Everywhere
albums
you
do
stream
have?
music, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer. Shout out France.
Have you done any international touring?
We haven't. No, I'm trying to get us up to Canada and stuff. The Canadians, they're so polite, but they get down, dude. Canadian shows are carnage,
Absolutely.
man. They're awesome. Yeah. Aside from the Burger Bar, we got a ton of shows coming up. Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine. So we're making a big announcement about all of our spring and summer shows on our Instagram. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, it's at Monument Hill Band. On Facebook, you just Google Monument Hill, and you'll see our logo. And we got a ton of fun stuff coming up, and the album coming out in March. So keep an eye out.
All right. Tell me what you're going to play today.
Today we are playing a song called Palm Knuckle, which is a song that me and Peter wrote about a dude that sucks.
Is this related to the bowling alley in any way?
It is not. He worked with me and Joe, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
He
really
does suck.
He really does suck.
Yeah.
And the song after that is called "Shut Up and Drive, Sad Boy." That's kind of like another one of the protest songs that we've written. We try to be as politically conscious as we can. All of us go to protest, and we kind of rally people to vote, and kind of fuck ICE.
Fuck ICE.
And then the last song is Rivers, which is kind of like a lost love song. It's not about a relationship of mine. I co-wrote it with my best friend after his fiance left him. So it's like a really emotional song that I don't have to be emotional about, which is rad.
Awesome. Let's hear you guys play.
Yeah, let's do it.
go.
All right.
Shout out Dot Live. Thank Thank you so much for doing the interview.
What's up, guys? We're Monument Hill from Boston, Mass. Your mother! Don't look at me as if the better man to free. Cause tear down what I built. What the fuck you even building in there? Is not my problem that you lose and alone, or that you choose to build with sand and silk? Fucking worthless. So petty it is us. That's no one would give a fuck on what you stumble. Maybe then you'll be up for fucking push me. Hiding short on the safety the tears. You always do your best, but need to say fucked up way to be trying to mind. Look inside the edge of light that you see. Or is it all just me? You have to fight as a taking time. Get a liar's mouth to speak for us. I guess it's true what they say. The rest bring out the rain. Next time the pain's down, hold me fucking down. Think you're funny, but you really just stick down. Think it's okay, consider smile. Pull it together, you petulant fucking child. Just me, spare me the tears. You always do your best, but need to say fucked up way to me. Trying to mind. Look inside the edge of my let's see. Who's gonna trust me? My life, what life?
Thank you guys. This next song is called Sad Boy / Escape Plan / is that what it's called? I don't know what it's called.
It's called Shut Up and Drive. Good job, though. I'm
I
proud
tried.
of you.
I don't know what we do.
To light my way, when dark dimensions I could not climb. Every time I end, Franklin, but you never answer. So I'll walk away from the fucking crime machine. Every time I end, Franklin, but you never answer. Bloody shadows on the side, yes, I'm back. it's a top divide. Trying to get away from the storm that's coming. Get behind the wheel, man, shut up and drive. Bloody troubles trying to sell you something. You should walk away from the top divide. Trying to get away from the storm that's coming. Get behind the wheel, man, shut up and drive. Can't think of the answer, can't trust. Can't speak the different of my head. Can't work with the fucking bullshit. I'll cover my way when I show my body. Real presence of the blood inside you.
This song is called Rivers, you guys.
I tried to burn places where I could lay my head beyond a sea of empty places, all who push me dead. Your eyes are like fire, I feel them burning through me. I can go away in the spirit of passion. Let me unbroken as you walk away. Your eyes are like water, I feel them throw me under. I can feel the river as the current runs through me. Saying it's her as you walk away. Trying to get by as you leave me behind. You walk in at the door in my mind. But sadness scars. Let me see fine. Side of my eyes are tired. Now I see that I'm blind. Your eyes are like fire. I feel them burning through me. I can feel the way in the center of the sun. Let me unbroken as you walk away. Your eyes are like water. I feel them blow me under. I can feel the river as the current runs through me. Letting it sour as you walk away. Scream of myself as I'm going through hell. I can see in your eyes just how far that I fell. The death of this life, the toll of the bell. I seem to defy. What are you, a more world? Your eyes are like fire. I feel them burning through me. I can feel the weight of the better emotion. Let me unbroken as you walk away. Your eyes are like water. I feel them blow me under. You feel the river as the current runs through me. Getting in sorrow as you walk away. We're going to hell. If I could go one day. Run. Cause we're going under. I can't kill this on my fire. I can't kill this on my fire. I can't kill this on my fire.
Anybody else in the mood for nachos?
Thank you for listening to Dot Life, Dorchester's only hyperlocal podcast with news, content, and analysis. Dot Life is available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Dot Life is produced and edited by me, Erin Caldwell. Technical support is provided by Yasser Mahmoud. Additional support is provided by the Dorchester Reporter and the Record Company. Thanks to Cindy Fadden, Mary Beth Diener, Galrev Gala, Mary Kelly, Seth Daniel, and the crew from Monument Hill for joining this week's show. Thank you for listening, and we'd love it if you could share, subscribe, rate, and review the pod wherever you listen. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, visit dotlifepod.com for more information.